Does anyone mind if I?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Okay, you should be set.
All right. Good evening. So let us call the meeting to order, the October 29 meeting of the naming of the Southside Elementary Schools. Thank you all again for being here and being present. So staff will let other members into the meeting as they appear in the waiting room. So thank you again. So we're going to go with the agenda as printed, following it as closely as possible as we can. Next item on the agenda is change in membership. We don't have any action on minutes. As last meeting, we didn't have a quorum. So all we had were notes from that meeting, but those notes were shared with you. Next item is an update on membership. So Bob will bring us an update as to where we are with our membership, and then we'll move forward.
Just real quickly, we have 8 members. We have permission from board president to continue the work with the 8 solid members that we have. That means a quorum is achieved and we have 5 people from the meeting, from the members present.
Okay.
So we're good to go.
All right, excellent. And as I said, there were no minutes, but we do have notes from our last meeting. So the floor would be open for any discussion or clarification on those notes. They appear to be well written. We had great conversation. We had great clarification in terms of the board policy and had some open-ended questions that come from the members. But for those who were not at that meeting and are here tonight, if you've had a chance to read them, we certainly would entertain any questions that we can address relative to those notes that were presented. All right. Okay, seeing none, we will keep moving. Following that,
I'm sorry, Mr. Jones, can we go back and approve the minutes from the June 17 meeting, please? We can go ahead and do that.
That's true.
There is a motion language inside board docs for that.
Gotcha. Right. So the June 17 minutes, we did, as I said, we could not approve those minutes at our last meeting. So the floor is open for action on the June 17 minutes by this quorum body tonight. Any action on those minutes?
Motion to approve.
All right. And my head was down. Who made the motion?
Motion to approve.
All right. Benji made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
And Ben, beautiful, beautiful. It's been properly seconded to the motion. Any discussion or clarification? Questions? All right. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Seeing none. Abstentions? Seeing none and hearing none. Okay, the motion has been approved. So thank you again. I'm sure staff will be very pleased with the approval of minutes, keeping our business in order. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll continue moving. And what we want to do now is have a little update on any public comment that has come in since our last meeting. And staff tracks this information on the website and any written information that might come in. So we'll turn to Barb to bring us up to date.
So there have been no new public comments since the last report. I'm thinking that most of the reason for that is because they're kind of waiting for the committee to do some action and have a little bit to comment on. So I'm sure that will change as we move forward.
All right.
But we'll continue to update that report every time you meet.
Excellent. So I think the next item, the update on research for each proposed name, it was mentioned at our very first meeting in June that this would be a standing agenda item, and we were going to have help from staff at the district there. And keep in mind, last month we had an opportunity to begin some overall discussion of proposals, and one of the questions to come up was how do we address some of them? How much time do we need to spend on some of them? And how do we decide what's in the mix and what's out? So what we'll do now is open the floor and have a little discussion about the information that we've gathered. research that we've gathered on some of the proposals. Now, is that going to be Gail or Barb or you?
That's gonna be me for right now because we don't have any information to add to the research at this point. She again is waiting for some committee action before she dives into all of it. She is doing stuff in the background, I'll let you know that.
Good.
But we're waiting for some action on the part of the committee to see where she needs to dive deep.
Okay, all right. So we can move forward. And this is where I think we'll spend most of our attention and time this evening on the deliberation process. And what I had an opportunity to do was spend a little time with Barb and a new Dr. Anu, I call him first name, as we talk about the process of eliminating some of the proposals based on board policy and the process to include proposals based on board policy. So I think what we'd like to do now is have an opportunity for you all to just share based on board policy. And last month we were able to go through the policy line by line on the intent of the policy and the procedures related to that policy. So tonight what we'd hope we could do is apply that and just start with a very open conversation about proposals that should be removed from the list based on their not meeting board policy. So let's begin with that process. So we'll open up the conversation for proposals that do not meet board policy for various reasons. So the floor is open, and I think I'd like to start this, and you all follow me, for example, and correct me. As I went through the list of proposals, one of the requirements is that an individual, the building named after an individual, that individual must be deceased. So there are some proposals that contain the names of individuals who are not deceased, and they should be removed immediately and forthwith from our list. So I'm going to run down that list, and then Barb, you may have done the same thing. You may have the same as I do, and of course we can talk about them. The first one on my list that I think would be removed would be proposal number 3, Barack Obama. Barack Obama is a living person right now, and based on that, that individual should be removed. Any thoughts, questions, any concerns? Okay, having none, keeping it moving. The next person that I have, because the proposal wasn't quite clear, is proposal number 54. That's Christine Hodge. It's my understanding from the community that she is not deceased. So we either need to have Gail or someone double check that. But if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw her a couple of weeks ago. So, so we want to double check that. But just going through the list, looking at the name, she'll be so Barb. Is this one where Gail could confirm whether my recollection is off or on?
So I'm pretty sure that Christine Hodge is very much alive.
Okay.
I do want to have I do want to confirm that for sure. So I can't do that myself. I haven't seen Christine for a number of years, but
Okay.
so we'll come back to that one
Right.
later in the game. I do want to ask. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna back you up just a little bit. I did include a table in the materials for this meeting that has the proposals in alphabetical order.
Right.
And then it gives the number of the proposal, and it also shows how many they have and what page number it's on in the PDF file. I just want to bring people's attention to that. I'm going to share that for just a second.
Good. Okay.
So you can see that.
Yep.
I'm hoping that you're seeing that right now. So that's what I'm using as your discussion progresses. I'll be filling that table out on any action that you take on any of these proposals here. I hope you got a chance to see that table when you're reviewing the materials, but that is the one that I'm using right now.
Okay, that's good. And I did look at it, but I was working from a hand document.
Yeah, but
Same thing, but
chairperson rules. Thank
that's
you.
good. All right. So
I do want to add one more thing,
Go.
Mr. Jones, I'm sorry.
yeah, no go.
You did mention proposal number 3, for Barack Obama. You know, in fact, everybody knows that he's still alive and well, and if it's okay, it's a little bit easier on staff as we move these along, if we go ahead and make a motion on each proposal, individually. So if you're ready
Okay.
to do that, then we can just do this one by one, if everybody's okay with that method.
Does that work for everyone? Okay, all right. So let's back it up. Given the fact that we've identified Barack Obama as eligible to be removed from the list, is there a motion? Okay, I see Chow saying she brings the motion. All right, is there a second to the motion? And I saw Benji's hand first, so we have a motion properly second. All in favor? All right. All opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none. Okay. Motion passes. So Barack Obama will be removed from the list, and I'm just going to do the old-fashioned way and line him out on my list. Excellent. All right. So given Barb's overview and information, we now come back to proposal 54. That's Christine Hodge. And I think she's alive because I saw her 2 weeks ago. Bob's going to double check. So I think what I would ask on this motion is make the motion pending further information upon the review by the researcher. If we could include that so that if she is found to be alive, we can just not have to revisit this going forward. Is there a motion? All right. Looking. All right. I see Ben makes the motion to remove Christine Hodge from the list pending research to determine whether she's alive. Okay. Is there a second to the motion? All right. I think Charles saying she got it. That's a second to the motion. All right. All in favor? Okay. Let's see. Everybody positive? All opposed to the motion? No opposition. Any abstentions? Seeing none, hearing none. All right. So we'll move forward. The next person that I have on my list is Geraldine Bernard. And proposal number 79. Again, I think this person is not deceased, I'm pretty sure. In fact, Saturday night, she was at the NAACP banquet. But we want to confirm all of this. So we'll follow the same process. And Barb, do you have anything noting?
So I did get confirmation from the researcher that she is not deceased, so we can go
Okay.
ahead with that one.
Good. All right. Could we have a motion on from the group to remove her from the list? All right. I see Ben makes the motion. Child does the second. All right. It's been properly second. All in favor? Looks unanimous. All right. All opposed? All right. And any abstentions? Beautiful. Okay. So we can remove Geraldine from that list as well. Thank you again. And keeping it moving. I have proposal number 88, Tony Evers. And as you all know, he is the governor of the state of Wisconsin. And you know, he's in the news each and every day. I didn't hear of him today, so I'm going to recommend that we remove him from our list. Is there a motion? I see. Okay, Benji, got it. And is there a second? And Ben actually seconds. All right. Let's see. All in favor? Okay. And any opposition? And any abstentions? All right. Yeah. So we'll remove Governor Evers from that list. Proposal number 78. The next one I had was proposal 96, Sandra Brown. Looks like she was a retired school teacher here in Madison, but I just saw her Sunday in church. So, and I have not heard if her status has changed at all either. So is there a motion to remove her from the list? Go ahead. Okay, I saw Darlene's hand to remove, and is there a second? And Ben actually seconds, actually good, thanks. So motion has been properly made and properly second. All in favor? All right. Any opposition? And beautiful. Excellent. Any abstentions? Seeing none. All right, so we remove her from our list. And I think there's probably one more. Well, proposal number 22, 122, Geraldine Bernard. And I think this came up earlier, but it is a different proposal. So I think, Barb, we have to take action on each proposal, whether the person is listed once, twice, three times.
I agree. I think the one motion that you made about Geraldine will suffice.
Okay, so we
Take her
can
off
just
the table.
take off the table. No
Yep.
need for a second one. All right,
No,
gotcha. Proposal number 132, Andrell Davis. Now, I saw Andrell in June. I haven't heard from the community if her status has changed, anything. So, did you have any confirmation from her?
confirmed, she is still alive, yes.
All right. Okay, so motion to remove her from the list. All right. There we go, Benji. All right. And second was Darlene. Did you have your hand up? And Darlene second. All right. All in favor? All right. And any opposition? Seeing none, hearing none. Oh, and Chow, you're voting in the affirmative. Yes, right. Gotcha. Any abstentions? Gotcha. All right. So Andrea will be removed from the list. Now, so as I go through my list, just thinking about those people, individuals that the board policy would not allow to be nominated. I just recite that Geraldine Bernard appears again in our list at number 162. So the previous motion, which passed on her, will accommodate that name at that time. So before going to the next area to remove, Barb, did you have any on your list?
I do.
Ruby
I believe I have one more, and that
Okay.
is Ruby Bridges, which is proposal 31.
Ruby Bridges, okay.
I think we also have Gloria Latson Billings, proposal
Right,
130.
there's a few more. You're right. Totally. Mhm.
Colby Lee.
Okay, so Ruby Bridges, let's go in that order.
Okay,
Okay, so Ruby Bridges, and we've confirmed is still alive, right?
right.
Okay, a motion to remove her from the list. I see Ben. All right, is there a second? And second by Troy. Okay, all in favor? Beautiful. All right. Any opposition? And any abstentions? We've got it. Okay. All right. And Ben, you mentioned there was another person, Gloria Latson Billings.
Correct.
Okay. What number? What proposal? What number?
113.
Okay. Get to my old hand. Yep, sure is. I missed that one. Gotcha. Yeah, I just saw her a couple of weeks ago. All right. So without much discussion, motion to remove Gloria Latson Billings from our list because she's not deceased. Motion. All right. I see Darlene. Gotcha. Okay. Is there a second? Chow, second. All in favor? Beautiful. Any opposition? Seeing none. Any abstentions? Okay, got it. Thank you. And I heard another name. I think I didn't.
Colby Lee.
What number?
Colby Lee is proposal 121.
Okay, got it. Colby Lee. All right. So a motion to remove Colby Lee from our list. I see Benji. Okay, and Darlene as a second. Properly done. All in favor? Excellent. Oh, beautiful. Any opposition? Seeing none, any abstentions? We're good. Okay. So we've identified those individuals who are still alive and not eligible to be considered.
There's another,
One more? Who you got?
Pleasant Roland, proposal 21.
Roland? Okay.
Pleasant Roland,
Pleasant Roland, yep. Got it.
okay,
Okay. And has been confirmed not deceased, right?
right.
All right. Motion to remove Pleasant Roland from our list. All right, Benji. And I see Benji makes the motion. Is there a second? And Darlene will second. Excellent. All in favor of the motion? Beautiful. Excellent. Any opposition? Seeing none. And any abstentions? Seeing none. All right. So we've actually taken care of those individuals who are not deceased. So that's all good, right? Good, good, good. The next area that I kind of looked at and thought about, I think it's two proposals in this area, which is, one second, which is, now, the reason I question this, proposal 171. And Barb, if you can get to it, you may have to share your screen or something. But this proposal, the name of it, I think, was offered, I'm going to say in jest. I'm not sure the person was serious when they made this proposal. But what I have on my list for 171 is Schoolie McSchoolface. And some of you are smiling when you saw that. I didn't know how to take that, if that was a serious recommendation or not. So I wanted to bring it to the group and ask, based on what we know about that proposal, is it legitimate or not?
Do you want me to share it on the screen?
If you can.
Okay.
I mean, I would motion to remove it from consideration, one, on the grounds that the person who proposed it did not identify themselves. They just identify themselves as me. And then I think two, this isn't a existing person, or does it fall under the other criteria of the district policy, whether it's a landmark or a community value. So I would, again, motion to dismiss it under those grounds.
Okay, so hold your motion, because 174 is the same thing. It has the Schoolie McSchoolson. Well, it's a little bit different, but it's in that same category. Did you see that? Here we go. Okay, and she made, yep, you can bring both of those up, but you're right about that. Doesn't identify. If you skip down to 174, 174. All right. Schoolie McSchoolerson. Yeah. So I wasn't sure how to take that name, but I had it. I had both of those on my remove list. So so how do you feel about having your motion address both of those? You want to talk about 174?
I am amenable to that, to include 174 and 171 in the motion to remove both from consideration.
All right. All right. Okay. We have a motion on the floor to remove proposal 174 and 171 as not meeting board policy. All in favor? Excuse me. I need a second first.
While I credit the creativity, I will second.
All right, Ben. I got us properly made. All right. And all in favor? All right, excellent, excellent, excellent. Seeing on. All right, any opposition? Any opposition? Seeing none. All right, any abstentions? All right, none reported. Excellent. So those two we will be removing from our list. All right, so that actually whittles it down a little bit. Now, what I like to know from Barb is, Barb, were there other categories that we may be missing as community members about board policy and its effect on removing any other proposals?
So there were two.
So,
not proposals, but they're suggestions only. And those are number 18 and the number 71.
okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Oh, 18 first.
I also just want to add that proposal number 4 is also another one for schoolie mixed school face. So if we want to take care of that one as well.
Good point. Good eye. Yep, sure is. Yeah. Okay. And there you go. Sure is.
So I recommend making a motion for that one first, number 4.
Right.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good catch. Right. So is there a motion to remove proposal number 4 from our list? Oh, and I wasn't looking. So Ben, make the motion. Megan does a second. Okay, we'll let that order. All in favor? Gotcha. Right. And any opposition? Okay, seeing none. Any abstentions? All right, so proposal number 4 is removed from our list. Okay, and now we move to 18. All right, and 18, there we go. All right. So, and 18, right. And you were saying on this one, Barb, that the person, they give us a category, and there's a statement I have in my notes. This is just my notes. A basis for it or significance, but not clearly stated. All right. Okay, yes, choose a celestial or natural feature. All right, any discussion on this proposal? All right, and I think, Barb, you probably hit it on the head. All in favor of removing proposal 18? Oh, good. I guess I need a motion.
Need a motion?
Motion myself. A motion to remove proposal 18. All right, and I saw, was it Ben? I saw Ben's hand. Ben makes the motion. Is there a second? And Megan does a second. All right, properly done. All in favor? Okay, good. Any opposition? Seeing none, and any abstentions? All right, proposal 18 is also removed. And then you said 71?
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Okay, and here's 71. All right, so we have a person's name submitting it. And then what category? Idea or concept? That's that. And I'm not sure I have a name for this one. I don't remember seeing, I have no name.
So there's no name, no.
There
they're
was
not
no name.
proposing,
I have no name on this.
Merely
Gotcha.
making a comment about what they favor.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Is there a motion to remove proposal 71 for lack of definitive information and not meeting board policy?
I'll motion.
Megan makes the motion. Darlene does. I see Darlene hands for second. All right. Properly done. All in favor? Okay. Beautiful. Any opposition? All right. Seeing none. Any abstentions? Beautiful. One abstention. Okay. Oh no, that wasn't Benji. Gotcha. No abstentions. All right. Motion passes. So thank you very much. We'll remove number 71 from our list. Okay, so those 3, in addition to the previous ones, whittle down our list a little bit. Okay, all right. Any questions or concerns on the actions we've taken so far? Identifying those proposals to be immediately removed. We want to make sure we address all concerns and questions. Okay, all right. That brings us to the next phase of taking a look at the proposals. So
I
Okay,
have one more, Mr. Jones, that
Oh, there is?
I'm just recommending that the committee take a look at and it's number 25.
Ah,
I'm not sure how appropriate it is, but the committee, of course, makes the decision.
gotcha. I remember this one. All right. Middleton Cross Plains Area School District. And I wasn't sure I was pronouncing this correctly, but I pronounce it Big Chungus Elementary School. And it is proposed, the proposed name and concept, what is the value? And if I recall, what the person said was, everyone loves Big Chungus. So, and I think on my list, I had removed for lack of substance on the significance. So anyway, let's have a conversation about that one. Given what Barb's saying that this may not be appropriate.
It would fall into the same schooly mixed school face meme kind of category.
All right. Makes sense. That said, is there a motion to remove? I saw Ben's hand and Darlene. Ben makes the motion. Darlene second. Either one. All right. Properly done. All in favor? All right. Any opposition? Any abstentions? Looking. All right. So we now remove proposal 25 from our list. All right. Good. Glad you did that. All right. Were there any other observations on your end, Barb, about proposals that may be out of order based on name or lack of significance and so forth?
I do not. That was my list. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll keep the process moving. We've eliminated a few of the proposals. We're now down to those which are going to require us to take a real look at. Now, at our last meeting, we did have a chance to go through the rubrics of the scoring sheet, and we were given kind of a working plan of action to use those. So we now are at the point of deliberating on proposals. And I think what I would suggest as we think about this is we go as far as we can with each proposal, giving it due diligence for each one. So I didn't know, Barb, if you had planned to screen share each proposal as we go through them.
Happy to do that if you like. If that helps, I can do that.
Well, I'll ask the pleasure of the group. How do you feel about where we are now?
Okay.
Ben, you're thinking each proposal, you want to share, we just keep moving it, or we just go for basic what we've done? Okay. In or out? That works for me. I'm following the group's lead. All right. So here we go. We'll start at the top and go from there. All right, quick and dirty. All right, let's start with the first proposal, proposal number 1. As you can see, it's proposed to be South Elementary. And I think what I would ask you all to do, even though you're going to fill out your individual tally sheets, is just focus on whether or not, based on what's written, does it meet board standard and should be worthy of further consideration. And I think we'll run through this, but each of you will do your own individual tally sheets and come up with your replies. So how about it? South Elementary. All right, locally significant geographical site. What the gentleman speaks to, or what they say about the significance, Madison Southside is unique and has its own identity. Rather than trying to identify a single individual to name the school after, it seems to me a better option is to simply name it for the area it will serve. So given that information, when you look at the your Rubik scale, you're going to be asked to evaluate it from 0 to 5 based on whether or not you feel it meets the proposal. I think for our conversation tonight, while I'm not asking each of you all to present your individual scores, you just might want to take a global look and just say, does it meet the standard? Is it in? Is it out? How's that?
I think when I was scoring this one, I gave it a 1
Yeah.
on the grounds that it does meet the proposal geographically. I mean, South is in geographic orientation, and I think no understanding both the community presence and um, community value that people recognize in Madison South. I think it's a
Right.
neighborhood. I think it's a community. I think it's an entity of itself. So I think it holds merit, but it does not exceed the criteria. And
Gotcha.
that's why I wouldn't give it a 2, but I did give it a 1 in
Give
my
it a 1. All right, that's fair. And just using that as a base for conversation, how do others feel? A 1 means it meets the proposal. Doesn't mean it's going to be one of our final recommendations, but it would pass muster tonight, so to speak, given Benji's explanation. So what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Benji.
All right, moving
I
on.
agree with the 1.
Gotcha. So we'll keep it there. All right. And we'll go to number 2. Hey. All right. Badger Elementary is what was proposed. And if you could scroll up a little more, I think I'd like to read Barb a little bit about, okay, so we've got the name, person who submitted, idea, concept, her rationale. Badger, to the left, Badger Road, Badger State. Okay, it is one identity we all share. So, given what's been written, is it in, is it out, does it meet board policy in your opinion?
I think it meets the policy. I think that the precedence of Badger Rock Middle School and the road that it's on being Badger, I mean, I think it meets the criteria.
Okay, all right. It does meet, so so it is in the mix going forward, but not necessarily at a high level. So what I'm hearing, Ben, is that it meets criteria, doesn't exceed yet. Well, for this one, I'll just share what I wrote in my notes when I read it was, and I know we can only read for our own understanding, could have been a little bit more descriptive in terms of its significance, I think, but that's just me. I didn't write this, but so I get your point. All right. Any concerns with including Badger Elementary at this point? Only as meeting criteria. Any opposition to including Badger Elementary as meeting criteria at this point? All right, seeing that. So it looks like it's unanimous. It can be included as going forward, meeting criteria. Okay, all right. Keeping it moving. We removed item proposal 3 and 4. We're now down at number 5, which is Gene Parks. Prominent local individual. All right, and okay, person did submit it. Name is there. He stood up for African American Men's Madison's. The significance was no answer. And I wrote in my note, no stated significance. And I think when the board asks the question, why should it choose it? This is that opportunity to sell them, and I missed that. Okay, floor is open. What do you think about the name Gene Parks and the supporting information presented in support of that name? Any thoughts? Okay. Comments, thoughts? In, out. Well, I do think Gene Parks was a prominent stand-up individual for the city. And I loved his work in terms of equal opportunity, civil rights, advocacy. In my notes, I wrote that it did not have a significant, it's not for me to give a statement of significance. It's the person submitting it. So I really missed that one and did not, this is only in my reading, I did not include it for that reason, trying to stick with board policy. But I'm open to hear others' thoughts on this particular proposal.
I'm with you, not a reflection of Gene Park's significance or meaning, but based on the proposal itself, it doesn't seem to have the word part the substance
Big
uh,
time.
that I would want to see to consider.
Yep. That's good. Okay, keeping it moving. Well, let's ask this then. Any concerns removing Ben Parks based on the lack of substantive information submitted, particularly significance that the board could consider? Right. Seeing none. All right. So now in this situation, Barb, since we are removing and not going to consider further, do we need a motion at this point on this proposal? Okay. All right. So is there a motion to remove Gene Park's name from our list of for further consideration? All right. I see Megan makes the motion. And is there a second to the motion? And Darlene makes the second. All right, properly done. All in favor? All right. Any opposition? Seeing none. Okay, and any abstentions? All right, seeing none. So we will now remove proposal number 5, Gene Parks, for lack of substantive information from our list. All right, and
That
moving.
will also, I'm sorry,
Oh,
excuse
go
me.
ahead.
Sorry, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
So that will also take out 2 other proposals for the same name, number 68 and number 92.
Well,
Unless you want to review the app, each proposal.
I think we should review them because the
Okay.
next proposal might have a little bit more substance to it.
Sounds good.
Okay, so but yeah, I do. I know the names will come. His name is coming up again.
Okay.
So well, how about what's the flavor of the group? Do you want to go to the other Gene Parks proposals since we've opened up that door? Deal with those 3 now and then come back to number 6.
As a whole, I wonder if working in the alphabetical framework that Barb's put together for us wouldn't be more efficient.
It probably would. Yep, it probably would. You want to open up that one, Barb, and go?
Okay, 68. Move into 68 for Gene Parks.
Oh, you want to do that one first now? But what Ben is saying, if we go to your format where you had grouped them alphabetically, it might be more efficient.
That's what I'm doing. I'm going to the next proposal for Gene Parks.
Okay, go ahead. Got it.
Correct.
All right. So, okay. All right. And see, 68. Yeah. Okay. Keep it moving. Where are we?
Oh, sorry.
Okay. 67. Here we go. All right. Okay, here we go. All right. So, all right. So this one, all right. So there's a little bit more information. Permanent local figure, true. All right. And
Wow, it's a couple of pages. Yes.
yeah, this one gives a little bit more substance going forward. And I remember reading this one saying, all right, so here we have with proposal 68 for Gene Parks Elementary School proposed by Candace Mooney. A little bit more information. She gives a little bit more about his legacy in Madison, some articles out of the local newspaper, some quotes about his life and tenure, and so forth and so on. So, but if I remember this one, scroll down, Barb, to the very last. Okay, here we go. Okay, go up a little. Gotcha. Go back here. Okay, according to Bevere, while Parks was an alderman, much of his district. Oh wait, I lost my own self. Yeah, much of his district included. Oh shoot. Yeah, areas of campus, and many of his constituents were students. Parks supported important student issues such as affordable housing. And that issue is alive and well on campus these days. But so what we have here now is a different proposal supporting the name Gene Parks. And so here, unlike the other one, there is information presented that would give the board some information on significance of this individual supporter. All right, floor is open for a conversation about proposal 68 on Gene Parks. Thoughts, comments? Yeah, okay, quite a bit. Oh, go ahead, Ben.
I was just gonna make a motion to retain it in consideration.
Okay, your floor is open. All right. As motion to the floor to move this proposal 68, into the group for further consideration. Is there a second? All right, I see Darlene has made a second, properly made. All in favor? All right, excellent. Any opposed? Seeing none. Any abstentions? Seeing none. All right, so proposal 68 will move forward. I'm gonna put my check
Chair,
to it,
point of
for
order.
further consideration.
A question.
Oh, go ahead, Benji.
Is the process that we're undergoing right now just a process of elimination, or are we incorporating our ranking in front of the group and then coming up with a collective rank? Excuse me. Or is this just a process of elimination just to clear out and then we'll go back and go with our rankings, or are the rankings more so for our own personal evaluation of the proposal?
All right. Bob, you want to take a stab, or I can go first?
I think that's totally up to the committee, Benji. You can take whatever method you want. I understand that you would like to be as efficient as possible. I don't know that we need to go through all of the proposals another time to see if they fit all the criteria. It's kind of a situation where you use your scoring rubric yourself so that you can participate in the conversation. We could ask, for people to rank them. Say, in this example, for Gene Parks, we have 3 proposals here. You could rank the proposals all together as a member of the committee and say, okay, we've achieved a rank of 3 for Eugene Parks moving forward, and then come back to that at another time. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So it doesn't, you can say it meets the criteria, and if it does, is it something that needs to move forward based on your rubric results? So you could do both at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So, up to this point, what we've done, Benji, is I understand it, is say, okay, from a first cut, does it meet the standards? And you're right, we have excluded some, but we've also included others. And I think as we go forward, I think the thing is going to have to be, when I complete all of my individual calculations on the rubric, they're going to be a little bit different than just saying some are going to be 3s and 2s and 1s, or remain at 1s and so forth. But that's going to change. But it was my understanding that as a committee, when you get the total group that's, I'm going to say, have met the passing mark, then you got to choose what's the final 4. What does those final 4 look like?
Thank you. Yeah, I was just curious about
Yeah,
process,
good point.
what we were
Good point.
trying to
Oh,
accomplish.
go ahead, Barb.
I have one more thing I want to add. There is a online ranking tool that other committees have used to get a tally of the members online live at a meeting and see where they land using this tool. Now, we haven't talked to this committee about that tool yet. I don't know if we're at that point just now. But there is an electronic tool that we can use that will incorporate your individual scoring rubric for each of the proposals and come down to a ranking
Final
tool that
ranking.
pulls the top.
Interesting.
So we do have something available for you to use in that way. I'd really like to take some committee time to look at that tool before you say yes or no to that.
I would, certainly.
And we can certainly talk to Mr. Jones about that in between the next meeting and be prepared to use that tool to trim some of the proposals down.
If that would work. All right.
In addition, there are 56 proposals for one person, Lori Mancari. That particular name could probably be just one segment of a meeting, just going through and figuring out which proposal from those 56 should move forward, the one proposal that should move forward for that name.
Out of those 56, yeah. So
It's another use that we could use for the ranking tool.
So the tool that you mentioned, the online tool, and so you all could present that to the committee as a resource for, but not tonight. I mean, is that something, can you do that tonight or not? Or is this something for the future?
This is that would be for another meeting. I mean, we could do it
Okay.
next week. I mean, we're ready to do it, but I don't want to spring that on people at the last minute. We really should, put that on the agenda as an item for specific discussion.
Gotcha.
It usually doesn't come up this early in the process. It is something that they use more toward the end. In any case, it is out there and you can use it, and we can definitely share it with the committee members and be prepared to discuss it fully and use it next time.
How does
If
that
you're
sound as far as making that an agenda item? And it can be applied at any point in the process, it sounds like. If let's say that we get through 20, 25, 30 proposals tonight, that process can, Barb, if I'm saying this right, can pick up at that point at the next proposal that we review, where we all can kind of indicate our replies, and the system would pick it up, calculate it, reserve it, present it, so to speak.
So yeah, it works very publicly. So we
Okay.
ask all the members to use it as they're in the meeting.
Uh-huh.
And we go offline for just a couple of minutes to see what the result is, and then we come back to the committee and say, here's the result, here's the ranking based on all of your input. So it goes pretty quickly.
All right. How's that sound, group? Sounds interesting. All right. Excellent.
So we can definitely bring that forward. I'm on to, let's see, I don't have that in here. And so I'm sorry that we didn't bring that up earlier for this committee. I didn't know if you'd be at that point right now, but you know, any member from the committee can recommend methods or ways to look at all the proposals
Improve the
definitely
process.
and see if the rest of the committee is okay with it.
Sure. All right. Well, I think we need to include that on the agenda for our next
Okay.
meeting, and then be prepared to apply it as
Okay.
we go forward in reviewing these apps. And I guess what I would ask is what we just did was take a look at the second proposal for Gene Parks. And I understand there were 3 of them, and so we were going to look at the third one for him, that name rather, and then evaluate that. And then after that, I think what I'm going to ask for is, how do you want to proceed for the rest of this evening with the review? So, all right.
Okay.
All right, let's try
The
that.
third proposal for Gene Parks is number 92.
Yep. All right.
So we'll keep this, I just want to clarify that we will keep this PDF file the same as it is. This will not change. What does change is the table that I shared with you earlier about the ones that we have taken off and left on. So this document right here will remain the same for the public and for you, so that that remains consistent with all the meetings, but the table that we're using on the side as you remove things or make decisions will be updated each time you come back.
Gotcha. All right. Okay. All right. So third proposal, recommending Gene Parks, does have the name of the individual proposing it, name of the school, and then we get down to the significance that the board can use. And here again is some of the same information, but a little bit more. His role as an alderperson, City of Madison, president of the NAACP, some of his activism and so forth. So they did put in a little bit more substance compared to the first one. As State Senator Tammy Baldwin once said, Eugene Parks was a complicated man who confronted complicated issues head on, no holds barred. So it is a little bit more complete than the first one. But our question is, as we look at these three, do we move in any case, do we move both forward or one? And I think what I did in my ranking was I went with the previous proposal as going forward and not this one. Even though it was well written, it had some good information. I just chose to move proposal 68, I think it was, forward. But floor is open. How would you like to proceed with that? And I think for Barb, this raises the one question. When we submit, when we compile those proposals that are in or out, is it necessary to have, in this case, two competing? No, they're like the complementary proposals versus one. It doesn't matter. Just one.
Trying to get to one
Trying to
for
get to
each
one.
name. Yes.
Yes. So in my evaluation, I chose the previous proposal as my proposal to put Gene Parks in the mix. So that's how I see it. But the floor is open. Any thoughts, questions, procedural? So, okay. A motion to how do you want to proceed? You want to move this one forward as well, as Bob said, or given what we just talked about, remove it from the list and let the other proposal proceed. Floor is open. Okay. Any thoughts, comments? All right. Good. Well, we're going to keep our options open, but I do think, though, if we're going to get down to the final four, and that's what we're trying to do, is get down. At some point, we'll get to four. Only this name, if it does make it to the final four, it can only make it under one in one situation, not two or more. So I know it's a little difficult, but I do think, given what we've seen, proposal 68 and proposal 92, we probably need to make a choice as to if you like this one better, you can always make a motion to rescind the previous vote on 68 and go with 92, or you could go with removing 92, keeping 68. What do you think?
I think keep 68.
As a motion to the floor to keep 68, or a thought to keep 68. Based on that, that's for a motion to remove 92. Is there a motion to remove proposal number 92 from our list?
I will move to remove proposal 92 from the list.
All right, there's a motion to the floor to remove proposal 92 from our list. Is there a second? And I see Megan second. All right, properly done. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All right, opposition? Looking. Any abstentions? Okay, so we will remove proposal 92. We've taken care of all three proposals in the name of Gene Parks. We know that we'll be presenting one of them in the mix going forward. Thank you. All right, so now what I'd like to do is, if you go back to proposal 6, Barb, where we took a break, is ask the group, how would you like to proceed for the rest of this evening? Although we had a 2-hour meeting scheduled, we're now at about 7 o'clock, halfway through. We have a little more time. And I think we've all had a chance to kind of gauge where we're going from here. And we don't know what's coming up, how quickly we can move through these, but is there a preference or a proposal on process approach going forward for this evening?
I'd like to uplift Ben's proposal or earlier of using the alphabetical list that Barb had compiled that
Right.
includes the proposal number as well as the pages to find it,
Yep.
so that we can quickly reference both the proposal and the subsequent proof.
Has had them group, okay? Right. So Barb, if you could, are you able to bring that up so that we could work from there?
Yes.
Okay, let's look at it.
But I also leave it to the committee to decide as well. That was just a suggestion that Ben had made earlier that I really wanted a second flip.
She did do it. She did do it, right? Yep.
So in this column, number of proposals, if you want to start there, I think the biggest number, of course, is Lori Mancari with 56, and the next number I think is there are 8 for the South, and anything that has the name South involved in it as the next highest. But now you're talking about geographic or conceptual names versus people. So you can choose to go with whichever one that you want to. If you want to just stay with people for now, or you can move to the geographical ones if you want.
Gotcha. All right. So, all right. So, Bob, you just want to scroll so they can kind of get a feel. Scroll slowly so they can kind of get a feel, because I think there may be a recommended option coming about. So, for example, all right. So, right.
So yes, it is a huge list. There's no doubt about it. You have a great many here who only have one proposal. You
Right.
have many that have 2 or 3.
Right.
So there are more than one way to look at it. So you could, as a committee, discuss how you want to handle proposals that have 3 or less, or each to its own. So you have all the flexibility in the world as far as how you want to approach it.
Right. Now, if this model suggests that while we would have the representation of a proposal, for example, if we take Shirley Abrahamson, it does say gives us a number of individuals who recommended that name. Boom. It gives us the proposal number 64. But what it doesn't do is it gives you the information about the proposal, whether what category it falls in. Although I don't know if this one doesn't do that. Well, we know it's people right now. It's people and individuals, and we know that they must be deceased. So we got that. But what we don't get with this is any of the narrative supporting the name, the significance, all of that good stuff. So we could go this route, but we'd either have to rely on our own screens to go through the narrative or be prepared to present whether it's significant, whether it's not, whether there's statements of significance. So, Barb, you don't do that with this model, do you?
I did not evaluate them at all. No, not at all. So, but
Nope,
what
not
I
at all.
can do is go back to the actual original proposal and bounce back and forth between the table and the
Sure could.
proposal language. I can do that for sure.
She could do that, right? So, well, I'm of a mind saying let's try it that way for a couple, see how the process goes, and see how far we can get. If we can go from the groupings like this to the actual proposal, just kind of do back and forth and see if it works. What do you think? Okay.
Right.
Well,
You want to go in alphabetical order?
I would
Or do you
say,
want to
yep.
choose the ones that have 3?
What do you think, Benji?
I would defer to the committee. I just think moving in an alphabetical order helps us stay organized as far as not having to bounce around and remember if we already talked about
All right.
Stephanie Bernard or something and then coming up again. Because in terms of even just what we experienced with Gene Parks,
Right.
we started with one proposal and then we weren't going to see another proposal for Gene Parks for another 50 proposals.
Mhm.
And I think having it in an organized fashion where we can talk about the name and the actual person behind the name and see the proposals, the sub proposals for the name in an or alphabetical order keeps us organized.
I wonder
Okay,
if for efficiency as well, we've got a pretty overwhelming number of proposals heading in one direction,
right.
and a pretty overwhelming number period. Does it make sense to consider a motion of any proposals with 3 or less recommendations just be removed? Does that honor the process? Curious on others' thoughts about that type of motion.
So what Ben is saying is, if we think about the quantity of the recommended names as a criteria for moving forward or not. For example, if there's one name of an individual that let's say is substantively supported with all of the information, that name would not be there because number one, if I'm following you, Ben, we'd go with the proposals where there's 3 or more. Am I saying that right? That's kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, and I think even curious from Barb with past experience, is that a process that is common to take just a broad swipe at everything 3 or less or something similar to that, or would that be considered dishonoring of the process of those even singular submissions?
I think trying to be faithful to the process, I think people tried to give some conversation to each of the proposals. Yes, they did. And as soon as you started using the ranking tool though, the things that sped it up pretty quickly. You could also have members of the committee picking up a certain number of the proposals and coming back to this committee with a recommendation for the sections that they have. So I'm not sure that I'm making myself totally clear on that, but there's just so many ways to go about this. Trying to speed it up though, yes, you can do that. I mean, you could say, yes, we're going to consider and talk about each of the proposals that have 3 or more people in support of them. Yes, you can do that. Sure, you can.
But we can't eliminate those with less than 3, if I understand.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I mean, yes, you can. Yes.
Even though we might run the risk of having the best proposal submitted by one individual.
You may run that risk, yes. And then there's
Okay.
also
Okay.
the committee can come up with its own criteria from this point on, as far as, okay, we want to have somebody who's nationally known, we want to have somebody who's just known in the Madison community, we just want to consider those that are close to Southside. There's all kinds of ways, I guess, if you look at all of the proposals that only have one, I think the tool is probably going to help you the most, committee, when we move forward here, because some of these names are gonna mean something to people and some of them are not. You are the people who are here to make the decisions about this, and you've been elected here by others in the community that put you on this committee. So yes, you are going to have to justify whatever you do. But if you were diligent about scoring each of the proposals yourself and you assigned a number to it, I think the tool is probably going to help you the most when you come back. And so, that's probably going to be quicker. And give each of the proposals at least some consideration by the committee as a whole.
So given that, do you want to spend a little time just taking a look at, let's go back to Benji's recommendation, which was alphabetically. So if you could go back to your list, Barb, here, I think Shirley Abrahamson was the first one to appear on this list. All right.
Right,
And there were what, 3 for her? Two,
yes.
2, 3? All right. So let's see what the process yields when we look at proposals 64, 67, and 77. Those would be the 3 for Shirley Abrahamson, right? 64.
I am going to throw another suggestion out there. This is
Go.
the one thing that I do know that a few of them did that had so many. You can also ask a couple members of the committee to get together with the chairperson and brainstorm some more ideas about how to tackle all the proposals. And that certainly is something that you then come back to the bigger committee and talk about and propose to them about how to attack the proposals. That is also
That's an option.
an accepted way of going about it.
So, in your experience, Barb, since we're talking about the quantity, does this this school naming process we're in now, 175 proposals, is that the most you've ever known?
Yes, it is by far.
And
By
there's a
far.
reason, given that, what I would, if we had a conversation, I would say this. Why don't we take a look at all of those proposals submitted for Lori Mann? Let's deal with those first. Take them off the table or in. Even though there's 56 different proposals, she can only be advanced once. And then she may not be advanced, even though there's a whole lot of proposals out there. And that right there is about a third of the workload that could be done. So that's the kind of conversation we could have as far as the process to deal with them. Am I saying that right, based on what you said, Bob?
Yes.
Interesting.
So-
Well, I would actually ask this. Is that the conversation you want to have tonight about dealing with this vastness? Do we want to talk right now how best to approach the Lori Mann proposals going forward? Because I just went through, I think each of you did too. You went through your notes on each proposal. You've kind of measured them, evaluated them, and she's either in or out based on what you've done so far. But do you want to talk about that? I'm only throwing that out as we brainstorm here going forward this evening. Okay, while we mull that over, back to Shirley Abrahamson. 3 proposals submitted. First proposal is 64. All right. Okay. Prominent local, and Barb's going to bring it up in a sec.
I do. I'm sorry. I thought I was sharing it. Okay.
Oh, 64, 67, and 77.
Screen 3. There we go.
All right. Okay. So there we go. All right. Does have a name of a submitter, name of a school, prominent national local figure, and this particular person goes on to talk about her life and times as Chief Justice of the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Many of us do remember her. Lays out all of her credentials, accomplishments, experience, training, all good. And I think go down, Barb. Yep, we got it. She's beloved and admired by those who see her as a pioneer. Got all that in there. All right. She's a role model and gifts. So this particular person does give a little bit of background information on her, a little bit significant about her. And do you want to talk about this one now or review 67 and 77 and talk about them in total? All right. Well, move to 67, Barb, and we may see if that's stronger, similarly, or not. Okay, here we go. I remember this one. Quite a bit of the same. Her role as a Supreme Court Justice, first female in Wisconsin to reach that role. Got a little bit more about her graduation from law school. And again, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader quoted her, has a quote about her. So they did include a little bit more in that one. How did I do that one? 67. Okay. Had it checked, but not significant. Scroll down because I think in this one, I stated, here we go. I had a little bit more significance than the first one. Gotcha. Okay, there we go. And I think they do that. As Chief Justice, Shirley created outreach programs, to demystify the work of the courts and to make them more accessible to the public. So they go on to give a little bit more information about her. Gotcha. All right. And then 77. All right. I think this one. And what did I pick? All right. Yep. A little bit more. Person submitted, Shirley Abraham Elementary School. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. 77 was a long, was a little bit long. Yep. But that substance that they did put in there. So, and this one has some examples that the other two did not. But I ended up rating 6 or 7 the highest. I don't know, maybe it was more simplified and to the point. I have it rated higher. But again, here are three that seem to meet the criteria that could be moved forward. But our job would be to hone it down to one. If we decide that it's in the mix, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to mean, but right now it does meet. They all three seem to meet standards or meet the board policy guidelines. All right. So Benji, so in your thinking, as you look at it alphabetically, you only got the one, but how would this measure in terms of process, moving it forward?
I mean, I think when I read through these two proposals are the last two that we read, the first one, but they exceeded the criteria. I think they laid a well case, like a well argued case for the name, dove into depth and detail about why they think this would be a great proposal. And I think, I mean, it passes if
Yeah.
at this moment in our process, if the only thing that we're considering is just the quote unquote legality of the proposal and the name proposed, does it fit the criteria and does it not? Then I think it does. But I think it's from the conversation that's been had tonight, it sounds like we as a committee don't have our metrics determined for what we as a committee are going to be promoting forward as our collective proposal to the board. We're just kind of right now sifting through, does this fit board policy and is it something that can advance and be considered by the committee? But again, we don't have our specific metrics for, is this something that we as a committee believe in and will be proposing as one of our 4, I think, proposals that we're allowed to move forward.
To move on. Yep. So but given that, I'd like to hear from the others, but given that approach, that what we can do is certainly dispense of having to go a numerical approach where the proposal may appear three different locations in that mix versus dealing with all of them at one time. For example, we're now done with Shirley Abrahamson as far as the 3 proposals, moving at least one of them forward into the mix. We're not done saying, all right, is this the best proposal and the best name we're going to hear? Go ahead, Ben.
I'm curious, like on this one, whereas I feel like 67 is a much more succinct, clear proposal, but it proposes the Shirley School. Whereas 77, while it's the same person, proposes, and I know we talked about this a little at the last meeting, Shirley Abramson Elementary.
Middle school.
You know, I'd really like to take the name off of 77 and put it on 67 and say, there we go. But I'm not sure that's quite our process. Barb, can you help any on that?
Yeah, so probably in the end, we'd be choosing the person's legal name.
Uh-huh.
So in that case, you know, yes, it's I think in the same vein, we're gonna capture what that person in the proposal wants from the Shirley School.
Mm.
But we would probably use
For sure.
Justice Abrahamson's legal name to put on the actual building.
Yeah. All right. But yeah. And I think we're gonna find that with several of them that also
Yes,
they tweak the name a little bit. And I think it
yes.
always my question has always been I like the substance, but that name was probably not the legal name, not the most recognizable name. So, but yeah, but we need to keep that in mind that yeah, that is an issue that
As an example, the Lori Mann Carey proposals, there are many ways that it has been proposed. So we did some pretty extensive research and we found that the name that she was most comfortable being addressed as was Lori Mann Carey.
Lori
So-
Mann Carey, yeah.
That would probably help with some of the proposals. So I do want to suggest one more thing before we get too far along tonight.
Okay.
The one thing that you all have in common is that you have scored each of the proposals. You have a score for every single one.
Yeah.
That information is yours to use. However, if you wanted to, you can submit those scores to me. A table can be created and we can figure out exactly what scores are higher than others for all of the proposals. So that's probably going to be a great starting point for your next meeting. And then the ranking tool would be used a little bit later on as you get further down.
That's
I think, yes, because there are so many, we have to have a way. We have to have a way to break them down. So if you're willing to share your rubric scores for every proposal that's out there, then you can take a section at a time with each meeting and look at the numbers that you're dealing with, and it's going to go much quicker from then on out. You can't share them with anybody else. It would just probably
Only
be
you.
with me. And then we would send you out a table that shows you what the results are from that.
Sounds like an interesting support. Sounds interesting. So are you in a position to receive from the members their tally sheet scoring rubrics now, starting tonight or starting tomorrow, for example?
Yes.
Okay.
So if they can put them all together in a table form, I'll send you a table and
Like
show
an
you how
Excel,
I'd like you
an
to
Excel
submit
table or
it to
something.
me. Okay.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there. And then I'll try to put those in a big spreadsheet and we'll go from there.
How's that sound? Quite reasonable, quite supported. All right.
It takes in consideration every single proposal without question that way.
Can do that. I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
If everyone's okay with that, we're going to add that to our process going forward. That you then can, on your own, do your own tallies, your own like you were supposed to do. But now we're going to have a comprehensive table with everyone's reviews, including the members who are not present tonight. They're kind of
Yes.
missing this orientation, but at least I think we can present to them what we're trying to accomplish, because if we've got 8 members, so what that says to me is that the spreadsheet that Barb is going to produce will have a notation and an evaluation for each of the proposals from each member, and she will tally that up. So not being a mathematician that we're talking about, depending on how we handle Lori Mann, if we still maintain that we have to do 56 entries, or if we end up doing that another way. But I think if we work around Lori Mann and deal with those proposals beyond those, we should actually cut some time down and have really, I'm thinking a fourth meeting that's really filled with really getting down to the brass knuckles of the naming of the building,
So the spreadsheet that I would keep would not have your name in it,
right?
wouldn't associate any number with any one of you. It would just be a number that goes with the proposal. So I would have 8 tables for each of the proposals. Does that make sense?
I think we can work with
Okay,
that. Reasonable?
okay, okay.
So, doing a bounce back, then, the Shirley Abrahamson, we looked at the 3 proposals, and it sounds like, that's a name that'll probably move forward. So if you could go back to your list, Barb, and, let's see who was next. I think the next proposal alphabetically had one submission. Is that right? No, 2. That was Crispus. Oh, am I missing? Oh, no, there's 2. All right, here we go. Yep. Edison Pele. So that proposal had 2 submissions, number 72 and 75. Okay. And 75, gotcha. Followed by the one, Crispus Alex. Okay. What's your preference? Do you want to continue taking a look and dispensing with the Aranus Sue, and I know I'm mispronouncing that. Someone help me. Edson Pele, I get, but Arantes de Nascimento.
Yeah, and in looking at the proposals, I think both proposals are for the same person by the same person, Ruben Ernesto. And so I would say that we can probably just use the proposal with Edson Arantes' legal name and have that one move forward if we decide to move it forward. But I think for consideration purposes, I think we can just consider it as one because again, it's the same person and it's submitted by the same person. The person proposing the name is the same person, Ruben Ernesto.
It was the same person? I missed that.
Yes, which is very, very unusual. Except that he changed the name for his proposal for the second one, so it's not exactly the same.
So that's what I'm picking up on it. I've got can you pull that one up, Barb? Because I've got the name.
75 or 72?
72.
Yeah, because he explicitly says in 75, like, hey, after some thought, I realized the first one's too long. This might be a better idea.
I remember
Okay.
that. I remember that. So yeah, I remember him. Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
So technically, that proposals, though both of them could just be advanced because they can be considered together. If the name is to be moved forward. So yeah, that's highly unusual. Haven't seen that before. But using the same proposal for the same person just with a different name, kind of interesting.
It is. I was confused on that one. All right. So are you sharing or not?
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You are
And
not
this should
seeing
be
my
real
screen.
quick. Should be real quick.
I apologize. Are you seeing it now?
Nope.
Proposal number 72.
Nope. We're seeing the okay. You gotta go back. There you go.
Sorry about that. Okay.
There you
72.
go. All right. So yeah, this is what I remember. Edson Arantes Elementary School. Gotcha. And then well, don't leave yet. Get down to
Oh, sorry. Okay.
72. Right. Gotcha. Right. Here's someone our students, particularly in the demographic we serve, that the school can identify and relate to him. He looks like us. I'll be honest. I had this one rated as low on substance, so I can't. We'd have to have that discussion on the significance. I didn't find any strong statements of significance on it, but go ahead to 75 because I think you're right. That name, there we go, Pele Elementary, and here it looks like us and so forth. And I thought you give me good statements about who this person is, all good on the prominence, but not a lot on significance. All right. Okay. But that would be the two. Our goal now is looking at the two proposals that were submitted. All right. There we are. Any actions on those two proposals to move them on or not move them on? Floor is open. All right. That's 72 and 75, right? 72, 75. All right. Any action to move 72 and 75 collectively together or singularly? All right. Pele, right. He was a great soccer player. I remember him. All right. No action? Well,
Sure.
I think
I would propose that we dispose of both proposals on the grounds that, like you had previously said, the significance of this person isn't really clearly identified in either proposal. I think that there's a lot of people who look like us, and I would lean into not all skin folk are kinfolk. But I think beyond that, given my own experience in Southside, I hadn't heard or seen a lot of students talking about Pele.
uh,
And I don't think that, yeah, I think that just between what was provided in the proposal as well as the argument for why this person is significant doesn't really, while it does meet the criteria, perhaps, I think that
it
given
meets. Yeah.
there's other stronger candidates, and I would just, if we collectively decide, I would say that I'm motioning to dispose of both proposals on the grounds of, one, its lack of significance, and two, the quantity of other names that we have to go and review as well.
That's a motion to the floor to remove the two proposals, 72, 75. Is there a second?
Second.
Not to move them forward, sorry, to not move them forward. It was
To not move them forward. Yeah, remove them from our list. Yeah. And Ben, did you second? And Ben did a second. All right, let's all in favor? All right, any opposition to removing those two proposals? Seeing none, any abstentions? Okay, we'll remove those two. And like in terms of the organizational approach, we won't have to pick it up again later. So, all right, that's a positive. Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, so again, I'll just revisit the earlier question. And it looks like we have about 18 minutes left in tonight's meeting. Do you want to spend some time discussing what approach we want to take to the Laurie Mann proposals, all 56, and factor that in, or we can also move down this list. The next proposal would be Crispus Attucks, and there's just one proposal, followed by Geraldine Bernard, which is 3, and then 3 again by Stephanie Bernard. So what's your preference? So yeah, and these are all Laurie Mann, when you can, there you go, from there all the way down to the next 200, yep, all the way down to 1 to Carson, Rachel Carson. All right.
I think we're going to be able to accomplish significantly more and at a better pace once we get the consolidated rubrics and then have a mutual live scoring tool. Otherwise, I think we could spin our wheels for 20 more minutes, but I think perhaps kind of maybe putting a pin in it here committing to our homework to be able to come back, get Barb what she needs so that she can have a compiled, consolidated scoring of the 8 members for our next meeting, and then take some quick action based on that, and then use some time to look at this other tool referenced.
That's a reasonable recommendation. Comments, thoughts, reactions? So essentially we will have, and I didn't do a count yet, but I would think that we've essentially covered at least a total of 15 different proposals. Those that we took off the list based on whether or not they were appropriate living individuals or not, whether the names were appropriate or not. We've removed many others. We've also moved proposals forward. So we made great gain, and I haven't done my summary notes here, but I think we touched on probably at least 20, 25 different proposals tonight. So that's a good lead. And then you think about the bulk of the work on Lower Man and give some thought to that so that we can develop a process to move swiftly, efficiently through the Lower Man proposals. And then I think what we're ending with is a recommendation to number one, fill out your own rubrics, get them into Barb. She will develop a master file so that would be available, and she's going to load that information in as you all get it to her. So that will be helpful. And then lastly, I think as we go forward, we need to talk about when we get down, we know we have to recommend 4 individual names. Could be places, could be things, could be people. So we know we're going to come to that. But that's going to, I think the process will yield those outcomes as if we follow the leads that we've laid out tonight. So nope, I think that's a good recommendation. Any discussion and reactions to concluding the meeting as is tonight with the assignments given and the workload ahead of us. That's Barb.
I'll send you an email that shows you what the table should look like that you can send back to me.
All right.
It'll be in Word format, so I can manipulate it easily.
Yeah.
So you can expect that, and then you can just fill in your stuff and we'll go from there.
Gotcha. All right. Any concerns, any thoughts?
I second Ben's motion. I think that having the idea, having our energies prioritized into this rubric that we now have, or this software that we'll be using to rank. I do have a question, and so far as how we're ranking, I know I see a bit of conflict in the rubric between that. One, there's the 0, 1, 2 grading scale across, but then in the actual comment box of total score, it says between 1 to 5.
Yeah.
I think it's rather difficult for any one proposal to actually get to 5, given the criteria presented, because it's, I think I'm going to say impossible for a place to be also a geographical site as well as a community value. Because that's how the rubric is presented. If the proposed name is a prominent local or national figure, if the proposed name is a locally significant geographical site. So basically my question is, are we ranking it 0 through 3 or 0 through 5 for the table that Barb is going to compile, or that we're sending to Barb?
So we've used it for 1 through 5 in the past, Benji. So that I realize that what you're saying is that you can give it a number for each one of those things from the criteria of the policy. But the 1 through 5 gives the person scoring it a little more leeway in scoring the thing overall. So we have used the 1 through 5 in the past. So if each proposal still is only going to get 1 number from each person, it'll still accomplish that. But again, if you want to change the rubric, you can do that too. So I think the boxes 0, 1, and 2 gives it a number when you do that. But again, I think the total score thing gives an individual person a little more flexibility
0 through
with how
5.
they really feel overall about the proposal.
Perfect. I will make mine 0 through 5, and then I'll send them
Thank
to you.
you.
Thank you, Barb.
Okay.
All right.
And yes, I second Ben. I don't know if it was a motion, but
Yep.
I think I'm
Got a
also
second to the motion.
Yeah.
All in favor? All right. Any opposed? All right. Good. Any questions, clarifications? And any abstentions? Seeing none. So I think we've got a head start, and I think we all knew that this is a process, and we have the ability to tweak it as we go forward. And I just want you all to think about going forward, which is this is, as Barb reported to us, no process and no proposal has had as many proposals as before. Regardless of how they got there, 175 proposals is a lot. So each time you go through your review while you're at home, just think about, can we tweak something? Can we change something? Can we move something out, move something in? But I think tonight, I think we've got a real good idea about looking at the proposals, whether or not they meet the standards, whether or not they are, there's a statement, strong, significant statement, and that's individual. I trust each and every one of you all to apply your own skill sets, your own knowledge base, your own morals, your own values to your proposal. And I think collectively, when we get that final compilation of information or data, that will yield, in my opinion, the best decision of the group. So I'm going to let the process lead us to a path of conclusion as we go forward. So having said all that, any closing remarks or thoughts from the members? Okay, closing remarks from Barb, if anything.
Thank you very much for being flexible. We really want to serve you the best possible way and get through the names as quickly as we possibly can. But you know, in the most thorough way we can.
Yeah,
So
right.
we're doing the best we can. So yes, you definitely have the biggest amount to deal with by far of all of the others. So
All right.
we'll get there. We're gonna get there. So this was very helpful for me. I'll send you out the information probably tomorrow to get it
Excellent.
started.
All right, and let us close by asking Dr. Ebby if she has anything to say, because we haven't heard her voice tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I just appreciate the thoughtful approach to this work and the discussions you've all had tonight. I learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to our next steps.
Excellent,
Take
beautiful.
care.
Seeing no other hands in the air, then I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. And I see Ben and a second from Chow. All right. Oh, from Darlene. Got it. That's non-debatable. So again, I appreciate each and every one of you for giving up your time and talent. And whether you know it or not, you've minimized any complications in the process going forward by your work tonight. I think you'll find it easier going forward. Let's do it and let's get it done. Everybody have a great evening. Be good and be safe.
Thank you.